I love looking at that animation. This is the best football show. I am Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL all over social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. I'm out there. This is the best football show. You can find this on your free Odyssey app, wherever you get your apps. Download it, like it, subscribe to it. Let's build this thing. Let's get into week 8. Let's start with last night's game. It was a great game. Vikings and Rams all the way to the finish. Both teams start out razor hot. Both quarterbacks, Stafford and Darnold, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, 14-14, middle of the second quarter. It's just awesome execution all the way around. But let's just look at the Rams here, okay? Because Sean McVay is a great coach, and his assistants are great. And this is a short week. This is a team that's 2-4. They've been playing without Puka Nacua. Been playing without Cooper Kupp. They've made changes in the offensive line. Injuries going all the way back to training camp. One thing I love about the Rams, they don't make any excuses. It never comes out of that building, ever. You never hear Les Snead say, well, when we get healthy. You never hear Sean McVay talk about, well, when we get our receivers back, we'll open the offense. They don't make any excuses. And so you watch this team play right now. They've got a rookie free agent left. All you teams out there that are watching this, all you fans of other teams that are watching this, just listen to this. The Rams are starting a rookie free agent left guard named Justin Dedich from USC. He was a 6-year player. All right, he's undersized. He's not 6'2". He's 300. He ran a 5.4 40, all that stuff that doesn't get you drafted. And they're starting a 6th-round pick, Bo Limmer at center. So 2 rookies now going up against a very, very talented and difficult defense in Brian Flores. Just 2 weeks ago, they were the number 1 defense in football. Led the league in sacks and, interceptions, all this stuff. Those guys, Kyron Williams ran for 97 yards. He's a great back. They did not give up a sack last night. Vikings came in with 22 sacks. They didn't give up a sack. They protected Matt Stafford. It's just coaching matters. Ryan Wendell is he's a former player. He's the offensive line coach there for Sean. Doing a fantastic job. And then you look at Puka Nacua coming back. Hasn't played since week 1. I mean, he's going up against Stephon Gilmore. He gets his catches, 7 catches, over 100 yards. You see the catches that Cooper Kupp made. You watch Matt Stafford play, and you go, okay, they could beat anybody. They could beat anybody. And this is what happened to them last year. When Kyron Williams got healthy, they got the running game going, they fixed the offensive line, and they made a run all the way to the playoffs last year. And they were a dangerous team in the playoffs. And I feel like the same thing right now. Defensively, you look at these young kids, Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. Kobe Turner, 2nd year. The quick escapes, the good pressure pass rush, putting pressure on, Sam Darnold all the way to the end. All the way to the end when the Vikings are down 28-20 in the 4th quarter. Fisk probably has his best pass rush of the year. Spins, he moves Darnold. Here comes Haight, and here comes Jared Verse with the sack. It goes from 2nd and 8 to 3rd and 21. Game's over. But just throughout the lineup, you just see these rookies throughout the Rams. You watch Josh Wallace, okay, him and Quentin Lake double teaming, Justin Jefferson down on the 5-yard line and taking the read away. You look at Omar Speights, a rookie free agent starting at inside linebacker right now. You just go through this whole lineup and you just see these contributions and you just go, Les Snead's doing a great job. Coaching matters. Get these kids ready to play on a short week. Justin Jefferson in motion on the 5-yard line. Got their assignments down. Bracket him. Take the read away. Got to kick field goal. Now, for the Vikings, look, they've lost 2 in a row. The sky's not falling. They're still a good team. They're still a good team right now. They played without Blake Cashman. They got guys they played without. Credit the Rams, but they're well coached, really well coached. I mean, you saw the drop by Jalen Naylor. Great play by Darnold. Maybe he scores right there, puts him right in the game. You can pick out a play. They lose Christian Darrisaw at the very end of the first half. I don't know how bad his injury is, but he's an elite player. Like, he pitches shutouts at left tackle. Run and pass. He's excellent. Aaron Jones is having a great year. Like, they still are very, very good. So, like, it's disappointing. The Vikings next, let me see what their next opponent is. I should know it off the top of my head. But, they got 10 days to get ready for Indianapolis at home. And then they go on the road 3 weeks in a row, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Chicago. Like, they got to get back in win column. They got 10 days to get ready for Indy. So let's talk about two other games. But I marvel at what Sean McVay does and what his assistants and his coaches do to get these young kids, undrafted and drafted players, up and ready to go. All right. Let's go to Green Bay, where Jacksonville goes to play Green Bay. I mean, let's stay in the NFC North. The Green Bay Packers right now, you watch them, and they just won a big game against Houston last week. They're 5-2. The Vikings are 5-2. Detroit's got one loss. Like, Chicago goes to Washington. But let's just concentrate on Green Bay here. They win a game. They won their third straight. They go down the field in the final minute, go kick the game-winning field goal against Houston. Okay? Jordan Love was awesome in that final drive. But here comes Jacksonville. And they're limping in there. And, Jacksonville, you look at them right now, and, they've got a bad record. They win a game last week, in London. You come back from London, and this is what they like to do. They don't like to take the week off. They could if they wanted to. They like to come back and play. All right, but they won 2 of their last 3. And you watch what's happening now offensively. A, Trevor Lawrence is playing a lot better. B, they got Evan Ingram back. C, they figured out that Bigsby's their best back. They're getting the ball to him. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry right now, right? But when you get all that, and then you add Brian Thomas Jr., like, he is the best rookie receiver in this league right now. I mean, you look at Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze. Go through the list of them. He's the best. Right now, he's got the 4 touchdown catches. He's averaging 17 yards a catch. He's delivering on everything they needed. They've got Christian Kirk. They've got all the other pieces around him. And the offensive line looks like they're playing better. They still struggle in one area. They still can't get a stinking yard when they need a yard. They still don't know what to do and how to do it. That's a problem. But I feel like this is a week, and I know Jacksonville's defense has not played well. Green Bay's defense has been awesome under Jeff Hafley. You watch them on third downs last week against Houston. Like, their third down, you look at their rookie safeties, Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, to go with Xavier McKinney. You look at the league-leading 17 takeaways. Like, this has the chance to be a really special game, only because I believe Jacksonville offense will show up. And I believe that if they're going to make a move, if they're going to get back in the race, they're 2-5. Nobody's talking about Jacksonville. But if you want to get back in the race, go to Green Bay and beat a good team. You got now one in London. You come back home. You go to Green Bay. Like, this can be just a complete shift in Jacksonville. If they can climb back into this race on one game, and they go to Philadelphia next week, it's not easy. But winning against good teams on the road, there's no better feeling than you get on that plane ride out of Lambeau Field back to Jacksonville, and you come together as a team. The card games get bigger, the pots get bigger, the camaraderie gets better. They get off their phones, and it's a social hour. And all of a sudden, the coaches are mingling with the players with the coaches, and they're like, we can do this. And then you say, okay, we just won 3 out of 4. This is a pivotal game for Jacksonville in the course of this season. No matter what's happened and how poorly they've played, it can change like anything. Now, behavior can change in an instant. Teams change their courses in big games, and that's what it is for Jacksonville this weekend. If they get blown out, if they lose and they go to 2-6 and they got to go to Philly next week, nobody's talking about Jacksonville, and it's probably over at 2-6. So they can change their fortune this week. I think they all know that. But offensively, they're at full strength. So let's see Jacksonville full strength. Let's see Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence put together a game plan against a very talented defense that's well coached by Halfley. All right, let's go to this last game I want to talk about because it's a division rematch from week 1, Houston and Indianapolis. I was there week 1 in Indy, and I believe the final score was 29-27. But in the game, Joe Mixon had 30 carries, 149 yards maybe. Nico Collins was in the lineup. Nico Collins and Joe Mixon, let's face it, they played a big chunk of these games since then without either Mixon or Collins. Mixon missed the next 3 games or so. Cam Akers, they had all these guys that were running. None of them are Joe Mixon. Okay, and Joe Mixon is excellent he's an excellent all-around back. He's a guy that you can screen the ball to. He catches the ball well. He's a great blocker. He's a great teammate. I don't know what Nico Collins. This is Friday. I honestly don't know what Nico Collins' status is. Forgive me, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else knows. But last year, Nico Collins, when he was the single receiver opposite the other 3. So if you're in a 3-by-1 set, everybody has a 3-by-1 set. Nico is their X receiver. He stands alone. Last year in the NFL, he led all receivers when he was the single receiver opposite the other 3. He led all receivers in receiving yardage. And I went back and watched him in those sets in the offseason. He runs this one route, and C.J. Stroud loves to throw it. It's basically just no matter what, if you're in a zone, man, if you're in a press man, he runs, and he's got a great release. He's long and he's fast. But, he runs this one release, and then he runs this post. And I'm telling you, C.J. Stroud hits him for chunks all the time. It could be a post, it could be a dig, depending on where the safeties are. But either way, that's their number one route. And Indy knows that. They've seen it all. They've seen all the cutouts. And so when he's not in the lineup, they don't get that chunk. They also have been heavily penalized throughout the year. In fact, Houston right now, let me just give you the exact number, because they were at 50, they're at 56 penalties after their 7 games. All right, that's a lot. All right, that's 8 penalties a game. And a lot of them are on the offensive line. And they have had trouble picking up a variety of stunts. They had trouble last week against Green Bay picking up stunts, some pressures. C.J. Stroud was throwing the ball away a lot last week. So, something that I'm sure Indy has looked at. I'm sure Gus Bradley has looked at it and saying if they can use something that, Green Bay did to them to their advantage to slow C.J. Stroud and this offense down. So the Colts, look, they're riding Anthony Richardson. I think they're better. I think they're better with Joe Flacco. He gets the ball to the wide receivers. Anthony Richardson made a couple plays last week against Miami. All right, close game. Defense shut the Dolphins' dreadful offense out, 10 points. Flacco gets the ball to his receivers. He's got a special relationship with Josh Downs. He's involved. And Anthony's just not there yet. Now, he can give, even in week 1, he gave them the unbelievable touchdown throw. Was it to Pierce or Pittman? I think it was Pierce. 60 yards, just a slingshot. He made 2 or 3 huge plays to make that game close. They need the same. They need him big in the run game, but he's had these injuries when he gets hit and he's running the ball 2 years in a row. Flacco gets the ball out of his hands. People are going to argue saying, well, here's the argument. Well, this is what I hear from Colt fans. All right. And I'm not here to bash Anthony Richardson, but this is what I hear. They're like, well, this whole season's about developing Anthony Richardson. Okay. What about the other 52 guys? What about Zaire Franklin? What about Quentin Nelson? What about everybody else in the organization where Joe Flacco's winning games, throwing the football, beating Jacksonville on the final drive? Or Tennessee. They beat Tennessee 20-17, and it was a big touchdown throw against zero blitz to beat Tennessee. But if they're going to ride Anthony Richardson, they need him to get more out of him in the passing game. They just do. They need him to improve. They can't sail the ball over these receivers' heads. He can't throw interceptions. or he's got to cut down on those. But you can't play scared at the same time. So it's huge. It's a huge game for both teams this weekend. Indy, narrow loss week 1. I think this is the first division rematch. I know the Jets play New England this weekend. So those two games are division rematches. You know, we get to the big division games late in the year in a lot of places. But this, in the AFC South, this is really important for both teams. And that's been the Week 8 preview. Rams back in the race for sure. I'll join you Monday, breaking down Week 8 action, only on the Best Football Show. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll talk to you on Monday.